Hi everyone, it's Alex from Radd, and we are here today at StatueCon 2025 in Michigan. So I flew all the way to come here. We're here today with Tim Hanson from Sideshow. We're going to go over the Luke Red 5 premium format from Sideshow Collectibles. We got the actual prototype and we got the sample that needs to be painted. So keep watching and we're going to go over it. All right, so we're back and we're with Tim. Do you want to introduce yourself, Tim?
Yeah. Well, as you said, I'm Tim Hanson. I work with Sideshow. I've been there for about 17 and a half years. And I am in charge of all the fabric costuming elements you guys see here. So capes, flight suits, certainly, belts, all kinds of stuff that's a mixed media form. It always runs through me to some degree, whether I do it or I'm kind of managing it.
So when you kind of started 17 years ago, what were the kind of pieces you started on then?
My very first piece ever, it was a little bit longer than that, but I did 6 scale back in the day, and that was very early Star Wars piece. It was actually Luke Skywalker piece was my very first thing I ever did.
Full
for Sideshow.
circle.
Yes, you could say that for sure. The first test thing I ever got was actually an X-Wing flight suit, which I failed miserably at, to be honest with you, about 19 years ago at this point.
At least it shows you've learned something along the way.
Well, I should hope so, right? Yeah, it's been quite a journey here, though, and really, really fun kind of experimenting with Star Wars, which is one of my favorite things ever. So, that's it. I've always been a fan of costuming and textiles, and certainly Star Wars is one of the great loves of my life. So it's a real pleasure to bring these things to life. So
with that, I mean, like, obviously something like Star Wars is going to be very tough licensing-wise and matching things, and to do... Well, even from the fan point of view, to please the fans, you've got to please the licensors and the fans at the same time, which is a tough balance. So where do you begin when they bring this project to you? They say, okay, we're going to do this. Where do you even start with this?
Well, mentally wrapping our heads around this piece in general was a bit of a stretch, as it was, and you know, with some of these things, we have ambitious ideas, and sometimes the process of that being realized, you know, it'll go through a lot of changes. So when I initially saw the sketch of this, and they added on top that we want to try to do a full costume element on Luke, it was very intimidating. Of course, I've wanted to do a fully realized quarter scale Luke and X-Wing in particular. I love this look. I love the color. I love the pockets. There's so much going on with this particular suit. So it was a really exciting prospect. But realistically, could we get this floating gag to work? And how much of the X-Wing could we incorporate in this thing? And could we tie all of these elements together and really make it stand on its own?
And also keep it affordable.
Yes.
That's the other side of it.
Well, that's a big one too, right? So you're talking about the licensors. With Lucasfilm, we have a long-standing relationship. And again, something like this, very difficult. We have a likeness to get right. We have everything to get right because there's a ton of Star Wars fans and they know details even better than some of us do. So that was the key point there is, can all of these elements work together? Will people be happy? Are they going to be excited? Are they going to buy it? Do they want to own this thing? Now that you guys are here seeing this in person instead of online, you know, we've got a lot of good feedback from the show here already. A lot of people seeing it for the first time ever. So it's really cool to just kind of get people's reactions to seeing what we've done here.
I think that's one of the big things is when you see pictures in general, I think that's a very small part of the piece because like you can see pictures and it's all dependent upon how good that person is taking pictures, the lighting, and you know, I mean, we're filming on my phone at the moment, and I think that this actual warehouse or showroom is actually really good because the lighting in here is I wouldn't say flattering, but it's quite true on the camera to what you're seeing. And a lot of times when you go to New York Comic Con, San Diego, they're in perspex cases, there's distortion, and then people are going, oh my god, that doesn't look anything like Mark Hamill. One of the companies I used to work for, they used to get a load of feedback saying, this doesn't look anything like this character, blah blah blah. They would literally say, all right, we're going to review the portrait. They wouldn't do anything to it. They would post it, then ship it to the people, and they go, I'm so glad they listened to us. They didn't change a thing.
They didn't change a thing. Interesting, right?
Just,
lighting makes all the
hilarious.
difference. It really does.
But that's the thing is, I mean, like, I think that, you know, the likeness on this does look fantastic. I mean, looking at this, I'm not saying this because you're standing in front of me. I would be one of the first people to point it out. And I think it looks really, really nice. It looks like Mark Hamill. It does look true to this movie to the time as well, because that's one of the problems is obviously people have a different idea of an actor, and that's always the problem with an actor is, you know, this went over 10 years or whatever the Star Wars original trilogy took, and there's many different likenesses, like looks of him, and then also there is, you know, just different camera angles, different lighting within the movie that make him look different. So it's a really tough one.
Yes, you're 100% right. They're very difficult. Likenesses are very difficult to do, certainly, and get through production and have them still looking that way. So this one in particular, we had done, I believe there was 7 different portraits that we had done.
Oh, wow.
Now we're starting from somewhere that already looks pretty good to most of us. We get more eyes on it. Danny Bell certainly got involved at one point, and we're talking about, then we start tweaking. And at this scale, at this size, I mean, the differences between them are quite minuscule.
Yeah.
But those are the things that end up making the big difference at the end, you know. So by the time we get to this one, which again, you can quote me, it is 6 or 7. We have all the painted Luke heads in Jesse's office there at the office. It's pretty mind-blowing to look at them. But all of them, you know, we're talking about very minor tweaks, and those are eye size, different cheek, where the nose and his lips are in proportion. I mean, everything is really important to take into account and very difficult.
I mean, one of the really difficult things as well is to know whether the kind of flaw as such is to do with the paint or the sculpt.
Yes.
And it's to know whether you need to adjust the sculpt or the paint. That must be very difficult.
That's very difficult
to have that idea.
Yes, we had Juan Lee, who was part of our 1/6 scale team. Tremendously talented artist. He's phenomenal. So we had sent the latter 2 portraits out to him to kind of see, you know, what kind of life can you bring to this sculpt in particular, and that's what we're looking at right here today. So it had gone through many iterations physically, and then paint, we had to keep evolving that to get to this point.
Wow.
So yeah.
Okay, so I think I could talk about this kind of stuff like literally all day. I mean, this stuff excites me, gets me interested. I love talking about the behind the scenes stuff, but let's try to stick on point with the statue up. This is going to be a 2-hour video. So tell us what we've got in front of us. So like in front of us here, we have like all these different things going on. So
yes, so this is a kind of a small window into my world here and my process with Luke here. So initially, I will get so obviously we go through the 2D portion, and then we'll have a 3D body that's worked out. So this is basically a filament print. And this is the first kind of mannequin.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Right? So this is a very initial like testing. Like, let's try patterns, let's try materials, let's see what I'm doing here. So this one...
just to mention, this literally weighs like, I don't know, like an ounce?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably about
like
accurate.
30 grams.
Very light. So they're like, Tim, we need to see what fabric looks on this thing.
Yeah.
So do what you can. So this is my initial, basically first shot at wrapping. So this one is mirrored left and right sides, which is normal for patterning. But what I found out in this process is that all of this stuff is going to have to change, and these things start tweaking. So what his right leg is doing versus what his left leg is doing, I need to accommodate for that in the clothing. So now, instead of being left and right mirrored, now they have to be unique patterns. So the fronts and backs on both sides, where the seams are lining up has to shift, where the pockets are placed, because this thing, it's a very organic process, but the Luke flight suit itself is very geometric, right? So we're having a bunch of angles, pockets, pocket flaps, all of these things, they all have to work, and they have to land exactly where they should on his body. So that means I need to accommodate on my end. So the patterns start shifting and changing. So now, just as a visual representation, this is my next evolution now. So you can see left and rights are now clearly different sizes.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's to accommodate for that big bend that he have with the leg getting that high on the ladder rung, right? So things that, you know, normally people don't have to think about. Well, as I'm looking at my fabric, how it's folding and where it's folding and how it's moving on him, I have to adjust to the sculpt, because everything needs to work in conjunction, otherwise this thing's going to fall apart.
Yeah.
You know, so that's pivotal. So now fronts and backs are doing something different. The sleeves have to do something unique, just based on how the character is posed. So yeah, this is kind of the first kind of steps of that. This is now a vest, which this is my favorite part of this thing. I am very proud of this work in particular, but the vest I really enjoyed doing. because I really wanted to make it as close to what the original vest was doing. And that involves all of these ribs that I had counted them 13 and 9 and it was like, I mean, it was one of those things that I had to get reverse engineered.
Yeah.
So the original vest, we have the kind of the overall finished pattern size. So now I'll have to go through and I'll make the adjustments now. So how do I accommodate for all of these things getting sewn one piece at a time?
Oh, wow.
So I use these little brass rods. I would slide them in through here. I would stitch my 2 lines. And, I found out more about this costume as long as I've been a fan of it.
Is it more than you would care to know? Or
it's just one of those things that became, part of my daily life, trying to figure out what parts double stitched, how much stuff do I need to put on this vest. There is so much. You're
going to be like one day at like a Comic-Con quiz, and someone's going to go, on the Luke Skywalker flight suit, how many ridges are there? And then you're going to
me! How many bibs are in there? You guys know.
Me!
This is the important stuff, you guys. But that's part of the fun, It's like, if I'm looking at this as I always do, really, I want to make a miniature version of the real thing.
Yeah.
Because when we're fans looking at something, obviously if you look at an orange flight suit and you look at a white vest, our minds are going to go to that thing.
Yeah,
when you get in, you look at the details, you see all the stitching. There's a lot of care and effort and energy that go into that stuff.
I don't think a lot of people appreciate it. I don't think that there's like enough appreciation to what goes into that and the actual attention, because obviously if you were, as a person, was to try and replicate this for cosplay, you would just buy an orange jumpsuit.
Sure.
You wouldn't have to think, well, the right leg has to be this length, that has to be this length, and there has to be stitching up here to generate that crease. And you don't have to think about that, because it will kind of naturally happen, so
yes.
I don't think they do. And then the other side of it as well is, once you spend like weeks and months doing this, like meticulously going through it,
yes,
how then can you be sure that the factory is going to replicate that?
Yeah, that's a huge part of it. And honestly, arguably one of the most important parts of it. Making a prototype is one thing, but this is where this part of the process comes in. And as you can see, as we have a side-by-side here, we do have a lot of things that are lining up right now, but still we have more work to dial in. So this is a first test shot that we have. And actually, when we unpacked it here, this was the first time I'd seen this suit on this particular piece. So that's a few hours ago at this point.
Yeah. It's much cleaner. It needs the kind of weathering and...
Right, exactly. So you can see, things that you don't think about. That is the color I started with, right? And this is the one we ended with. So there's definitely a difference between those two things. So we're going to work that part into. There's a lot of weathering on the vest. So we want to dial all those like really, really cool details in. So, we're looking at as close to the prototype as we can.
Yeah.
By the time people take this out of the box and they have it on display in their own homes proudly, they can see just the amount of process. But through videos like this and talking to you guys, it's really awesome to be able to explain through really how much detail, thought, and planning goes into these things to make them work.
I mean, I've said it 100 times today. I don't know how many times I've said it on this video, but I love the behind-the-scenes stuff more than anything else.
Yeah.
I love to see all of these pieces on the table. I love it when you have like a random hand hearing, oh, this one didn't work because of this. Or I love to know those stories, and I remember them. And then if I get the piece, I'll tell, hey, that this hand, and I'll remember that. But we're going to go into the statue. So we kind of deviate off. So there's loads of details on there. I mean, more than I've noticed from seeing the pictures. So even you've with this one, there is the clear resin kind of support there, which obviously you've now engineered this so it's not there.
Yep.
And you can see all the details on the hose behind here, where he's got the valve, so the fuel, I'm assuming that is, and then you got all these things going on, the cockpit.
Yep.
The flap you said is going to be, so you can either have it in the up position or the down position. And
that's a feature we're working on.
Yeah.
And we do have a working hinge for this one here, so you guys can really see.
I didn't want to touch it because I'm known for breaking stuff. So,
well, this is the one you guys can really look at. Honestly, get in and even looking at a lot of these beautiful sculpted details that Aaron had.
I don't. Literally, you don't want to be the one to give me permission to touch something. I really.
All right, I'll take your word for it. Very good. Yeah. No, please go ahead. Yeah, you can get it. You can really get a sense. You can really get a sense of that.
Yep. But but it is going to
Yeah.
Is it going to be stiffer than this?
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still working on making that tighter, so you'll be able to kind of lift it as it is and then close.
Did you want to get a close up? Sorry, of the cockpit, because you haven't sort of been in there yet. I mean, some of the other stuff as well, like again with this kind of like where's the decision where it's going to be a sculpt or it's going to be cut and sew? I mean, is there another question? So let me change that.
Yeah.
Is there a time where you've been there for a long time and you've seen a piece and they've gone with a sculpt and you've gone, why the hell didn't they do this? It should have been cut and sew. It should have been like, you've kind of really been passionate about that. Has there ever been a time like this?
Yes, I think there has been a few times. Honestly, that process of decision making is surprisingly fluid. I think, a lot of people publicly might be surprised that that's an ebb and flow that can work. Originally we had done a lot of our comic-based pieces as we did our initial DC pieces, for example. Our old original Marvel pieces were partially cut and sew, partially sculpted. So that whole process in my time that I've been there for over 17 years has really been like, which pieces are these going to benefit the most from having a cut and sew element, right? So at the end of the day, sometimes it's our art director saying, I think this way, I feel very strongly this could work here. Sometimes it's me saying, this is what I can do with this piece, or let's look at this other one that we've done recently. Or sometimes some garments can be sculpted, right? We have a piece like the Penguin, for example, that I think came out beautifully, and that's a great merging of, we have a beautiful outer coat.
I still think I think it's the first Sideshow comic book villain, which I think was Green Goblin, because I think most people think it was Doom, but I actually think it was Green Goblin.
It probably was,
and
you're right.
The Green Goblin has a transition between his boots into the suit.
Yes.
And it's one of the best transitions to date. Yeah. Like between the sculpt and
that's a classic piece you're doing.
Yeah.
Deep Marvel.
I think I've got all three of the original ones. No, four. I've got the four original Sideshow ones, which are the original Hellboy one. With the wired arm.
Yes.
Doctor Doom on Throne.
Yep.
The Green Goblin and the Logan.
Oh,
so I think they're the four original ones.
Original.
I think. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Let me know if I'm wrong.
Probably-ish. I don't know.
Marvel comic villains and heroes.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you want to mention about these, or anything else you want to talk about?
Just with any pieces in general, or Luke in particular?
Well, I don't know. We started this off as a Luke video, and it turned into something totally different.
we got a whole conversation.
I don't mind. Anything you want to talk about with?
I just I want to reiterate. I appreciate what you said earlier about people understanding maybe a little bit more, and it could be that maybe it hasn't been enough of a focus in previous times where there might be a misconception about. Something like we're taking the easy route, making something fabric versus sculpted.
I don't agree.
That sort of a thing. It's I think that is a bit of a misconception for people.
Talking about that thing, that's a beautiful example right in front of us.
Yes.
That's the old Mark Hamill Joker. That is like 2012 maybe.
Yeah.
And that is today. That's one of the best.
So one of the best. I appreciate you bringing that up. That's mine and Martine's baby right there.
Okay.
I did that one.
Did you do Jack the Ripper then as well?
I didn't do the complete one.
Jack the Ripper.
You brought up Jack the Ripper. Yeah.
No, because Jack the Ripper, when you see Jack the Ripper and you see the Joker, they're like, okay, were they done like the same kind of time?
Similar.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Jack was an awesome piece. I didn't work
It's on my hit list. It's one of the ones which I need to get that piece.
Okay.
It's always broken though. Unfortunately,
it is a shame.
The beard and the hands.
Tentacle situation there.
It's on my list. Anyone out there? Let me know. A good price though.
You heard it here.
I got Jew blood, so it has to be a good price. So I appreciate that anyway.
That one, I will say, when it comes to Joker, Martine and I, many years ago, that was one of the first things, or one of the early things we worked on, because we had done some Marvel pieces together prior to that. But that one was done secretly before we had the license.
Oh wow!
So. We had done that. We debuted it secretly in R10 at Comic-Con.
There's something hilarious as well. Is I got a load of stuff sent here from around America and Canada that I bought.
Okay.
And one of them is a custom head for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I've only just got it here now. So it's like the one where he's had his face taken off and stapled back on.
Okay. Yeah, I think I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
And but I love that piece.
I love over the years of all the things I've done, honestly, and that is one of my favorite pieces of all time.
I think it holds up amazingly.
I love hearing and seeing it in people's collections, like across the board. It really does mean a lot.
I have like very few on display at the moment because I'm waiting for cabinets. Okay. That's one of them.
Beautiful. Yeah. That's great to hear. Great to hear. Right. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Sorry, that kind of wasn't very well structured,
right.
And just kind of went all over the place.
Guys talking about
stuff, but hopefully you got what you wanted to see with Luke, because I did see Al. Sorry, Al's on the camera. Thanks, Al. Al was filming a lot of this, getting some good close-ups. So appreciate that, Al. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah,
thanks for your time.
Great talking to
you. And thanks everyone. Definitely check out Marco at Collector Sound. It's been a great time already. We've got another 3 days of this, I think.
Yeah,
so
3 days.
Awesome. Yep. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.